Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
They say that April showers bring May flowers, but that's not the only way we get them. 148 years ago, an 18-year-old man with a passion for agriculture and horticulture started a company that changed the landscape of American farming and helped popularize the home garden. Through exhaustive research and testing, he not only improved existing fruits, vegetables, and flowers, but created new ones. It's safe to say that more than any brand we've talked about before, this one literally depends on growth. And that's why this week's On Brand is on Burpee Seeds and Plants.
You're all jazzed up, nearly having a cow. You want your favorite show and it's on right now. It's on brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa.
I'm Jon.
I'm Marisa. Burpees, flowers, and seeds.
The actual name of the whole company is W. Atlee Burpee and Company.
Burpee sounds like you at the start of every show.
Okay, here's the thing. As soon as I kept saying burpee while I was researching, it's like, what joke is she going to go with? Right before we start recording, I usually take a big swig of cold Diet Coke, and then Alistair has to hear me burp in his headphones.
If we could do a reality show supercut, it would be of you burping right when we're about to start recording.
God, that is literally one of the only reasons I never auditioned for Big Brother, because they do those montages of things that you do all the time, and I just did not want to see what mine was.
Yeah, I don't think my self-esteem could ever handle it.
Everything else, I was like, if there is a reality show I could do, it's one where I just sit in a home for 3 months.
And never leave.
That's
fun. Okay, so we're talking seeds today. This is the first time you have brought a brand that I do not know. Is this something that if I saw the label or the logo, it would ring a bell?
It is a...
Or is this like your uncle's company that he wanted you to promote?
My real name is Jon Burpee. Hi, I'm Jon Burpee. It's so random. It wasn't on my list of brands I was planning on doing. Sometimes I like whatever the episode is to be kind of related to what's going on in the world. And a couple weeks ago, it's May... April showers bring May flowers, and Burpee popped into my head. So it's ingrained in my subconscious. Wow. I picture it as the seed packets, that you see, you can buy them at probably Target or Home Depot or anywhere.
Standard seed.
Yeah, but they have, I don't know what their packaging looks like now, but they're one of the companies that they definitely went through a period where they had very beautiful packaging. Like if it was a flower packet, it was like a painted, beautiful sunflower, cherub sprinkling water on seeds on the ground. Very artistic and cool. They actually sell a lot of the reproductions of those illustrations on their website. But it felt very 90s chic. I live in a loft, or the friend's house would have an oversized poster of one of their advertisements.
That makes sense. That would have really fit into my decor aesthetic when I was 11, because I had a French illustration, Le Chat Noir.
Exactly. And everyone had that poster of that guy eating spaghetti that you would buy at Z Gallery.
Oh yes, it was all very Z Gallery. That kind of feels like what this is, but not in a bad way.
This actually, I think, it may be more
Home Goods, TJ Maxx.
Okay, let's bring it up a little bit. I was gonna say World Market.
Oh, World Market. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very World Market.
Speaking of bringing it up a little bit, let's bring it down a little bit.
Okay.
I went somewhere I've never been before this week.
Antarctica?
No, that's not even... No.
You said down.
Oh. Well, I'm surprised you made that joke instead of something much more provocative.
Honey, you haven't been down there in years.
Okay.
Where'd you go, Jon? Where'd you go?
Hobby Lobby.
Wow.
Hold
while I pick my jaw up off the floor. What reason on God's green earth could possibly bring you, your gay ass, into a Hobby Lobby instead of a Michael's?
Well, I saw a TikTok.
Okay.
And they were selling vintage scratch and sniff stickers. at Hobby Lobby, and they were like the exact same scratch and sniff stickers that we like.
Was it like a strawberry with a face?
It's all of those.
Okay.
It was like the pretzel and like, the root beer and all of them. And I was like, oh my God, those are out again.
You had to do really well on your spelling test to get one of those.
I know. I just bought them because I didn't. I just stole money and bought them. So yeah, I go into Hobby Lobby for the first time. And I didn't make a trip to Hobby Lobby. I was in the parking lot. I was going to Home Goods.
Okay.
And there was a Hobby Lobby.
What were you getting at Home Goods, Jon?
Okay. So on TikTok, I'm not even kidding.
Okay.
2 years ago, I saw this little table and I became obsessed.
Wait, was it a strawberry?
Yes.
Because when we found ourselves in a Home Goods not too long ago, and you were asked an employee about a strawberry table.
Yes.
This is insane.
Let's just say that after 2 years, the search is over. Let's just say I have a giant strawberry in my living room.
In your living room.
I haven't figured out where this is going to... Something will have to be removed. Listen, we're off this subject.
We do not have the footprint for a giant strawberry.
We really don't.
We do not.
But it's going to be so cute. You put a potted plant on it, and then that looks like the strawberry's leaves. It's going to be adorable. I love that I'm like 2 years behind on a TikTok trend, but I feel so satisfied that I completed it.
So your two most recent purchases are a strawberry table and scratch and sniff stickers.
Close.
What is happening?
They didn't have the stickers. But listen, I just wanted to talk about
God.
Hobby Lobby. Have you been in one?
I honestly don't think I have.
No offense to anyone that likes Hobby Lobby. Of course, I want everyone to support the brands that they love.
Yes, whatever
what
makes you happy.
a trash hole this store is. It's like, it doesn't look like a trash hole.
In my mind, it's Michael's. It's not Michael's.
It's Michael's, but it's like, it's enormous.
Oh.
It's humongous.
Like a Joann's?
Like a
Target?
This was like an old Osh, and if you don't know what Osh is, it was like a smaller Home Depot.
Yeah.
So they moved into this old Osh. So they've already got this huge footprint. And it's like, no one knew what I was talking about with the scratch and sniff stickers. One lady was like, it's either in seasonal. It's like, seasonal? I don't work here, and I know it's not in seasonal. She's like, or it's in the far back corner. And I'm like, what? You're just trying to get rid of me.
Don't you hate when an employee like just does not give a shit about helping you find something? Or they'll direct you to a spot where you know it isn't because you just said you looked there, and you have to like walk with them sadly knowing they're not right.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding when I tell you both of the young women that helped me look like they were 15. Like they looked...
And they hated you.
No, they were actually really nice because I made the first one laugh. I was like, I'm looking for these scratch and sniff stickers. And she's like, she looked confused. Like, you're too young to even know what that is. When I was your age, this was like our internet. And that made her laugh.
That is pretty funny. And ironically, the internet brought you back to scratch and sniff stickers.
It all comes back to the internet. Anyway.
I'm devastated by how you spend a day. When I talk to you and I'm like, Jon, do you want to come over? You're like, I'm exhausted. I've had the busiest day. I need to rest. What you mean by busy is you are driving around town in search of trash.
For the record, your children probably would have been rewarded with scratch and sniff stickers.
Yeah, you're right.
So part of it is for you. But listen, now we're off topic. I just want to say about this store, it's humongous and there's so much of everything. It's clean. It's nice.
Oh, okay.
But it's like everything is junk. It's like... It's all the things you see. You're like, where did they get that? They got it at Hobby Lobby. It's cheaply made. There was like 3 aisles of just USA like T-shirts and like America and like listen, I love America, but
I know what you mean. And this is kind of a sidebar that I'm noticing. Like every store now has the same. Like stores just used to be one thing. Like Staples used to just be like, it's like office supplies. Now Staples has those like tie beanie babies with the big eyes and like so many toys. And I feel like everything has turned into a toy store. I was at a Dick's Sporting Goods looking for some T-ball stuff and everything has turned into a toy store. Like everything has like TJ Maxx trash, like 4 aisles of TJ Maxx trash.
It's a lot of trash.
It's crazy.
And all the stores are the same. Like TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods, and the other one, they're literally all the same company.
And now Staples. Staples is TJ Maxx, but they also have printers. Like it's wild.
It's wild.
Every store is the same.
So yeah, that's my banter. So seeds. And also in an episode recently, we brought up how magical we found seeds that like from such a tiny, I mean, some of these seeds are like microscopic.
Oh yeah. You ever see a carrot seed?
No.
Good luck.
Ironically, carrots are supposed to improve your eyesight. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right.
When I was a kid, we lived in a house in the suburbs, and I don't remember how I acquired a pack of morning glory seeds, but I did. And I planted them on the side of the garage. And like, I don't even remember asking my parents, like they didn't care, but that was the first thing I ever grew from a seed. And morning glories, if you've ever grown them, like I like got my dad to put like strings hanging down from like the awning or whatever, and they grew up them, and like every morning they would open up and bloom. I was like, wow, I created that. So
you made life. You were God.
I made life. That's the one time I made life. But yeah, there's something very magical about like doing that. And I've gone through phases of loving plants in and out my whole life. As you know, at one point I was going to do a show called Plant Daddy.
You did ask us that we start calling you Plant Daddy.
I don't think I asked you, but
demanded.
Please. I won't respond unless you call me Plant Daddy. But I'm not great with plants. I can get lucky with plants. I realized I couldn't be Plant Daddy because I can't say, oh, this is what you need to do. I just kind of get lucky.
Yeah, you're more of an intuitive gardener. I feel like to be one of those like a true Plant Daddy, you would have to like go to horticulture school or something and like know the names, like the genus of all the species and all that.
I definitely don't know the genus of everything.
Yeah, same. But I also like to garden. I have a small veggie garden. You know, I do like tending to that. I find it, you know, very just restorative just to get in touch with the soil and the earth.
Well, and you have, I mean, I don't know if you want to flaunt this.
I'll flaunt anything, honey.
But you moved into this house and it, you know, needed a little fixing up inside and outside.
Which you very rudely mentioned every time you came in.
I mean, you paint me to be a monster. I think we all agree on everything I pointed out.
It was a bit rough around the edges.
For your yard, you had a semi-celebrity design your yard for you.
Mariska Hargitay of Law & Order SVU, her brother. He owns a landscaping business in Los Angeles.
Mickey Hargitay,
yeah. And he has a plant store, and they do landscape design, and he did our front yard. He converted it from grass into low water. So we have some star jasmine. You know, we have lots of succulents.
A lot of milkweed, so you get a lot of butterflies.
Milkweed, a lot of butterflies. Yeah, I find seeds and gardening to be truly miraculous.
Yeah, and his store, if you're in LA and have a chance to go, it's a fantastic store. I discovered it after you mentioned it, but I didn't end up going till COVID. It was like I was into plants during COVID because we were all home and not doing anything. And I would go over there and it was like they would only let 5 people in at a time, even though most of it was like outdoors. It was like that time period.
Yeah.
And then you would go in and you only had 20 minutes to shop, which, you know, stressful, but probably good. I'm sorry. I have to burp so bad. I feel like I have a burp just sitting in my throat.
The name of the brand is Burpee.
Oh my God. The ghost of Atlee Burpee is in my mouth.
A little too on theme, babe.
I can burp on demand. I've grossed people out.
Nobody likes it.
I can burp like 100 times in a row.
Honestly, if you were ever to get a Guinness World Record for something,
it'd probably be that.
I'm sad to say it would definitely be that.
Continuous burping.
It's hell. So this is a brand you grew up knowing this brand, you recognize the seed packet. How did this pop back into on your radar?
Like I said, like I was just thinking, like, what do I want to do in May? And the phrase "April showers bring May flowers" to me. What's a flower thing? Burpee. So I think when I think of seed packets, I only think of Burpee.
That's so funny. I obviously know a seed packet, and I'm sure I've seen these, but it just would. Yeah, on name alone.
Well, that's why I have a podcast on brands. Brands stick in my head. I will say, anyone that's asked what we're doing this week, and I tell them Burpee, they're like, no one knows what it is. It's just straight line face. Sounds great. But you know what? Over the next hour, you're going to learn a lot about it. And when you're at your little garden parties this summer, or at your upcoming Memorial Day,
your bridal showers,
your 4th of July, you're going to be like, did you know that Washington Atlee Burpee ... We're getting there. So I know you like to do the young and hip brands like Liquid Death and Jenko. I would like us to go back to 1858.
Take us back.
Where Washington Atlee Burpee was born on April 5th, 1858. Throughout the show, I will probably call him either by his full name, by Atlee, or Burpee, because all the research I find refers to him in all those ways. So it's all the same person.
If your last name is Burpee, I don't think you want to be called that.
I wonder if people got teased with their names like 150 years ago.
No, but that actually brings up a point. when did the word burp come to be?
Oh, babe. I mean, here we go.
Because wouldn't it have been like belch probably like in his day? I'm wondering if maybe he always was belching and then he became like burp because of him, his name, that became burping.
Maybe because people have always said that my ancestors, my last name's Glover, were probably made gloves. So maybe his great-great-grandfather was just known for constantly burping.
You might, based on your ability to burp, you might be related.
I'm a burpee heir.
Al, are you finding any origin, etymology of burp?
1932.
1932, the first known reference to the word burp. What's any other details on the origin?
We got a lot to get through, so we don't, I mean... I have 4 days of research on this.
Let's spend 30 minutes on this.
So you can hit us back up if you got any fun burp facts. All right, 1858. So he grows up in Philadelphia. Both his father and his grandfather are very prominent physicians. Ooh. So he is destined to be a doctor.
A doctor.
A doctor. And you're going to be very happy. We have a photograph of him. He's an attractive man. Great. I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised.
It doesn't hurt if you're starting a seed company, easy on the eyes.
Well, we're nowhere near seed yet. So at the age of 14, Atlee develops a very unusual hobby. Like, you think of what were your hobbies? I was collecting stickers, listening to music, reading.
I would classify most of your hobbies as unusual.
Well, now. But at 14, I was a rather normal boy.
Oh, yeah.
So his unusual hobby at the age of 14 was poultry breeding.
Oh.
Right. So it's a very different time. So he's
Pre-internet.
breeding chickens, geese, turkeys, and this is just what he really loves to do.
Did he ever mix them up?
Well, yes, he created the gickens and
turkeys.
Geese. Yes, all of those things. I was actually thinking, it made me feel stupid. I don't know how
breeding works.
Yeah, I don't know how chickens make love. I don't know what happens.
There's a lot about this world we don't know.
I know some animals, like the lady,
The lady?
the female.
Well, first they fall in love.
They drop their eggs, and then someone will just come and dust them, and then the babies happen. I don't know what chickens do. That doesn't work that way, right?
I don't think it works like that. I think the egg stays inside until it's done.
So do they make love?
I think you're talking about seahorses.
No, frogs, I think.
Yeah, frogs.
But honestly, I don't know.
I think they do a standard mount.
Okay. So after the mounting, no, but he gets so into this. It's not only that he just becomes a skilled breeder, he develops experimental poultry breeding programs.
If my 14-year-old son was getting very into breeding chickens and ducks, I would be a little worried.
Different time, though.
I'd be knocking on the barn door honey, dinner's getting cold. You've been out here all day. It's Saturday.
Especially if you're a doctor. You gave birth to that chicken boy. I'm going to send him to medical school. He's writing scholarly articles for poultry journals. Who knew that there were poultry journals?
Oh, man. I get it every month along with AARP.
He's corresponding with prominent European poultry breeders. He is in the poultry scene.
Wow.
There's a story where he invites a bunch of these European poultry breeders to his home in Philadelphia, and they arrive, and they are gobsmacked that they have been writing a 16-year-old boy.
I would be too.
Yeah, it's just a very unusual situation. But he does what he said.
He catfished them.
He did. This is early catfishing. Chicken fished them.
Yeah.
But he does what he's supposed to do, and he enrolls in medical school. So he's, wants to please his father, decides to follow in that footsteps. So this is really the story of a young man who's torn between his passion and his obligations. Does he choose chickens or saving lives? And maybe we could use a little music for this little moment in his life.
Why does he like to watch chickens so bad?
Don't put music to that. That's not what I was talking about. So it's a spring day in 1876, and he visits the Centennial Exposition in Philadelphia. This is a tribute to America's first 100 years. He's walking around, and the exhibits are showcasing some of the most marvelous new things in the world, like the telephone.
Wow.
He comes across a giant sculpture of an arm holding a torch that would become the arm of the Statue of Liberty. None of this impresses him as much as the halls dedicated to the agriculture and horticulture,
Okay.
where he made a decision that would change American gardens forever.
Wow.
He dropped out of medical school.
Imagining him telling his parents that news.
I saw the coolest things at the exposition. You're not going to believe it. We're going to be able to talk to Aunt Silly in California. That's great. And I'm dropping out of medical school and going to watch chickens full time.
Remember that chicken thing that you guys really wanted me to pull away from? Well, I am diving in head first eternally.
The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Well, the mother must have supported a little bit. So he drops out of medical school and establishes his own poultry and livestock company with $1,000 that is loaned to him from his mother and a partner. That $1,000, if you're wondering, is about $29,000
Wow,
today.
okay.
Yeah.
Daddy didn't contribute to the chickie fund.
There's no mention of daddy giving any money to the chickie funds. So he begins breeding and selling chickens, obviously. He breeds dogs and sheeps.
Wow, he'll watch anything.
Okay. It's a different time. There was no internet.
No TV.
You just watch what you can watch. So along with the animals, he's also selling corn seed that you use to feed the chickens.
Mm-hmm.
Then his livestock customers tell him that they're looking for a more reliable source of quality seeds
I see.
to grow cabbage and cauliflower and cucumbers and all the vegetables that they need. So by his second year in business, he decides he's going to reshape the company. He ditches his partner and he founds the W. Atlee Burpee Company. He switches from selling primarily livestock to a focus on garden seeds. And it's different than any seed company that exists at this point because it's all very much research-based, which nobody else is really doing. They're kind of just like growing them, creating the seeds, and selling them. This guy's like, if he's really of that mind of like, if he's going to do something, he's like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but like kind of like me. Like he's going to go all in. Like he's going to really like figure out the nuts and bolts of it.
Yes.
So
he's the Emmy Award-winning seed man.
So like his whole goal becomes to create the best and most reliable like produce. He will dabble in flowers. Flowers is not his passion, but he's all about like the vegetables. And so throughout the 1880s, his research is yielding like new and improved varieties of cabbage and carrots and lima beans and celery. And I'll tell you, in my research, there's so many things where they'll say, and he invented the Hokotogan mountain lima bean. Like, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's one of those things where I think people know what that is. Like, there's like 9 tomatoes that keep getting referenced. I don't know what.
My understanding of like old food is that like before seeds were kind of modified, a lot of it was like hard to eat. Like beans and stuff, peas, they'd be really like stringy. And, you know,
this guy changed. He's
he
one of the pioneers that changed that. Like you'll see a picture of like they're like, this is a watermelon from 1742, and they cut it open up. There's like it's all rind. It's like trash, 6 inches of rind.
Yeah.
And this is watermelon today, and it's like no rind.
Great.
He's the guy that's doing that. And now I have a tiny little story that I call "Let Us Talk About Lettuce." Let us
talk about lettuce. I love it.
It's 1894, and the lettuce scene is complicated. Without refrigeration, lettuce wilts very easily.
I believe it.
I mean, unless you have
you ever like taken a salad like to go from a cafe, a bistro?
Yeah.
In the time it's sitting on your table waiting for you to get your check, it like it turns to compost.
As you're walking from the car, it goes from smile to frown.
Yes.
It's like even I'll take everything home as a leftover. I wouldn't take home as a salad. So it's really a seasonal food, especially like on the West Coast, you can probably have it all year. On the East Coast, you're not having lettuce in the winter. It doesn't travel. You can't grow it. So it's a very, complicated thing to have at that time.
We do really take lettuce for granted these days.
It was a challenge. But it was a challenge that Burpee was up for. So through his research and testing, he's able to bring to market a revolution in the lettuce game. A lettuce that stays crisp far longer than any existing variety. A lettuce that could travel longer distances without wilting.
Wow.
A lettuce that allowed homes and restaurants to have year-round salads. a lettuce that we all still love and know today that he called iceberg lettuce. He is the inventor of iceberg lettuce.
I'm speechless. I have no words.
Right? We now know a guy that created a lettuce.
There should be statues of him in every town square.
Right? Now, I have some complicated feelings about iceberg lettuce.
Sure, we all
I
do.
will say, like, when I saw the pictures of the iceberg, like the drawings of the iceberg lettuce that he invented, it is beautiful. It's a gorgeous lettuce. You look at, like, to me today, iceberg lettuce is the Hobby Lobby of lettuces. It's like trash lettuce. But I do like it if it's like a wedge. That's the only time I really like an iceberg lettuce.
I think this is a difference too in quality, because I think the like Taco Bell version of iceberg lettuce versus which is like snow white.
You're exactly
Yes.
right. The fast food version of it all has this smell that it's just, I can't stand it. I would much rather get a leaf lettuce.
Sometimes at Jersey Mike's, sometimes the lettuce is really wet. It's like shredded iceberg lettuce. And if you're at a place like that where they just do like a handful of wet lettuce and then like put it on your sandwich, and then that lettuce water like gets into the bread.
Yeah. And
It's
you're a
kinda
vegetarian, so like that's like your main thing on a Jersey Mike's sandwich. Is just a
Freshly shaved lettuce.
wet lettuce. So yeah, so I thought that was very interesting. I really enjoyed that fact that he
That's really
created
exciting.
iceberg lettuce. So yeah, so that's what he's doing. So how does he get these seeds to everyone? He embraces a rather novel idea of mail order catalog. We take that for granted right now. You're a big catalog person. You like getting in the mail. It wasn't a big thing at this time. So he realizes that there's a lot of importance in advertising, and that's the medium that he chooses. So he creates
cool.
this catalog. In the first year of business, the catalog was 48 pages, and he wrote most of the copy for everything. So he would, write the descriptions of all the vegetables. He set up an advertising department and offered cash prizes for the best advertisements. In this competition came the slogan, Burpee Seeds Grow, in 1890, which is the slogan they still use today. He thinks that's all they need to say.
They grow.
He offered at the time kind of something that a lot of people didn't do, a 1-year guarantee on his seeds.
Well, we know you would take full advantage of that.
Oh my God, can I tell you? Speaking of that, so Home Depot also offers an exactly 1-year return policy on any plant. 1 year I bought a plant.
How many buckets of dirt are you walking back to Home Depot with?
Babe, you have no idea. No, actually, only one. But any plant I buy from Home Depot, I always stick the receipt in a drawer because I know that I have a year to do that. 1 year I did kind of pull what I did with Costco and the wreath, and I had this plant that just died.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting in my yard for months and months and months. And I one day was like, I wonder when that receipt's up. I looked, and it was like 2 days I had to
my
take
God.
this. And I took this completely dead plant back and got my money back. No questions asked. They didn't even blink. They weren't even like, oh my God, you're one of those. So like, here you go. Happy
I
to
love
do
it when you don't have to like create a whole tale, spin a yarn about like what happened.
Right,
to the
but you
plant.
do anyway. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, so my mom, she's like going through some stuff, and no, they didn't seem to care
Don't
at all.
bat an eye. That's great.
So in 1891, the catalog was the first to feature engravings made from photographs, and by 1901, this process is being done by machines. When he moved to using photography, it really changed the whole industry. Like, this is a time where everyone was advertising with illustrations, so that was like another thing that he kind of was at the forefront of. He also broke with traditions of eliminating, like, putting like the cultural information of the vegetables in it, and started using testimonial letters and plant descriptions, which I thought was really fun. It's kind of like an early
Review.
like Target review, yeah. Which, we love looking at reviews. I can read reviews all day.
All day.
One of my favorite, if you want to be me for 10 minutes, one of my favorite things to read is Target reviews of onions. There's like 1,500 reviews of every like just a yellow onion.
Yeah.
And just hundreds and hundreds of people like, man, this onion really made my dish better, or they gave me a soft onion. Like, it's so ridiculous.
I can't get enough of reviews. It's such a peek into people's inner worlds in a way I just love.
Yeah, just like that they took the time to express what they're feeling.
I read a review the other day that was like 1 star, and it said, "Great product, just not what I'm looking for." Isn't that so funny?
That's really funny.
Just not what I'm looking for. Well, why'd you buy it?
And what makes us more mad than anything else, when they're like, 1 star came a day late.
Yes.
Has nothing to do with the thing at all. It's like when people review us on Apple and they give us 1 star, which doesn't happen often. But
One star. 1 star would be like you just burping nonstop for an hour.
Speaking of, my mouth is very dry.
Okay, pause for burps.
Okay, I don't know if this fact is going to be fun or interesting, but so he's really relying on, and remember, we're like right at 1900. Like,
oh my God.
This is such a different time, and I think we forget that a lot when we're talking about these shows. Like, you'll see pictures, like in your head, you're like, oh no, I know what that was like, but it's like such a different time.
Again, I cannot hold in my mind. Do we have cars? Do we have light bulbs?
We'll find that out in another episode. What we did not have, which I did not know, is that before 1863, when you sent a letter or wanted to send something through the post office, you were only paying for it to be delivered to another post office.
Oh.
So you would have to go to your post office, send it. It would go to another post office. The person on the other end would have to go and pick it up.
Honestly, that still should be the system. I cannot believe that mail gets to its destination.
I've always been, my mom and I are always like, I can't believe that I was able to send you this entire thing for like 41 cents.
It just the fact, like the infrastructure required to like get a piece of paper across the country and it never gets lost.
Yeah.
I can't even like bring something from the car into my house without misplacing it.
Well, don't tell them that at your post office interview. I feel like I'm pretty good with getting things places, but not 100% good.
You know, my father-in-law was a mail carrier. I'll have to ask him if he ever lost anything.
Oh, that's right. John Muir was a mail carrier.
He's a mail carrier. I know they had a lot of magazines laying around.
Yeah.
A lot of, you know, Macy's lingerie catalogs, Victoria's Secret, maybe fell out of the mail truck.
My mail carrier is very kind man. He's so nice. When I have a package, like I always have my door open, but you can't see me where I'm working my apartment. But he'll always drop it off and be like, package. And I'm always like, thank you. And he's like, you're welcome. Like he's just such a nice little guy.
You should invite him in one time. You're nude.
Hey, could you come in here for a minute? Like, don't go to the door, just my ominous voice. Hey, could you come in here and turn left into the living room?
I dare you.
No, why do you ever make everything that? Anyway.
I like intrigue.
So, in 1863, there's an act of Congress that provides free delivery to people's home that live in, like, cities. And then in 1896, that is expanded to rural homes. And that's a game changer for this business.
Crazy.
So now, all of a sudden, he's able to get his catalogs literally into the hands of the people all across the country. And it also allows the customers to write him back. He said he would get thousands of letters thanking him for his seeds.
I love that.
I know. It's so cute. Just picturing
Are you
someone.
about to cry? You really had that little twinkle like you were about to cry.
No, but I am picturing, like, you know, grandma sitting at the table. Like, I just want to, maybe I am going to cry.
Grandma at the table. Oh, the worst, honestly, grandma at the table. Like, I'm welling up also.
I can't even see you through my tears.
Oh my God. It's so sweet. I'm a little table with like a little tablecloth,
She's
a
wearing
little
like
like
her
bowl of bananas.
like nightgowny kind of dress. Just wants to tell him how
apron.
good his cucumbers look.
Oh my God.
Why do they look so good? Because of all the research that he did. Like, you wouldn't believe how much time this guy's investing in this. So this is a time, and I didn't know this, I wouldn't expect anyone to know this, American seed companies were very dependent on European breeders for most of their seed varieties. So what Burpee realized is that there's a big difference in the soil in Europe and the climate. So people are getting seeds, and they're growing, they're not excelling.
Not thriving.
They're not thriving. So he wants to fix that. So I love this guy. I love people that are just like, I see a problem, I'm going to fix it. That's
you and him would really hit it off.
I should have dated Burpee. If I had a time machine, it would be to like go back and accidentally bump into Burpee at the Centennial Fair in front of the Statue of Liberty arm.
And you'll be like, oh God, I am just so interested in watching chickens and he'll be like, oh, me too.
And not just chickens, dogs, anything, man. I just love to watch animals. It's like, come with me.
Come with me. I'm gonna make you a happy man.
That would be so funny. Now I'm picturing like the whole time travel thing. Like I get him for some reason not interested in seeds, and like cut to 200 years later and America's gone.
Our lettuce sucks.
No one. Yeah, there's no wedge salads. All because of me. Because I was horny.
Not worth it. I need my wedge.
To take care of this problem, he decides to purchase this farm, and he creates this experimental farm to test and evaluate new varieties of vegetables and flowers and figure out really how they need to be tweaked and make hybrids so that they'll really thrive in America. He would spend his summers in Europe and gather plants and seeds, send them back to the farm. Whatever survived, he would then run through these testings and figure out how to make them bigger and better and stronger. It was like really what he was all about. So within a few years of doing this, his farm becomes this like world famous showcase of experimental gardens that develop like these really incredible, like what we were talking about, like taking these like not super functional things, and he's really like changing the way that food is being grown. So the farm ends up serving not just like as their family home, but it's an outdoor laboratory for horticultural innovation. And it's really a magnet for like other horticulturists to visit and learn and study from all around the world.
I'd love to go.
I would too. They have several farms now. This one is no longer like their primary seed making farm, but there's others.
We got to go.
By 1890, Burpee was a household name. He's offering vegetables that were different and better than everyone else's. You can get them by mail. Like I said, he had a guarantee with them. And customers were starting to want flowers more as well. So then he created a whole nother farm on the West Coast where he could do the same thing that he was doing with vegetables on the East Coast, but with flowers. So he's like, he called this Floridale Farm and Flowers. And he was, you know, like I said, just doing the same thing, running tests and creating different varieties of flowers that already exist, flowers that would last longer, and all of that stuff. 1915 is the year that he passes away.
Aww.
By the time of his death, did you not know that he was going to die?
I didn't know he died.
I hate it when I spring that stuff on you.
I was hoping he was still kicking. He could listen to the pod.
Email it to him. At the time of his death, the company had grown to 300 employees, and they were distributing over 1 million of the catalogs a year, and they were receiving over 10,000 orders a day. So it's like...
He died on top.
We'd say on time. He died on time.
That was the right time to go.
That's when he should have gone. So obviously after he passes away, it's the end of an era. He's like one of those, whatever, the Steve Jobs of seeds. Like who else is going to be exactly like him? Luckily, his son did have a very similar passion, not for animals.
He didn't want to rebel against his dad and become a doctor, much to Grandma and Grandpa's delight.
That would be so funny.
This family chain just alternates between like horticulturist and doctor, horticulturist, doctor.
Just goes back and forth because everyone is a rebel and only into either saving lives or animals having sex.
Yes.
All right, so now we've got the son in charge, and the direction of the company really starts to change. You've got World War I is now going on, and that really changes the whole seed trading that is able to happen with Europe. So David expands the company by opening several breeding and seed production sites in the U.S. and Mexico and the UK. He's also a lot more passionate about the flower side of things than he is the vegetable side of things, which I think is great because the vegetable thing is already like really going on, and they've got people that are doing that. I personally am glad that I'm so happy that this company found someone to take care of the flower side of things in 1915. I don't know where my life would be if that hadn't happened.
If he was into vegetables, though, think about the even better fruits. And think about what our watermelons would look like if he was into them. No rind.
No rind. No rind.
All pink.
All flesh. You just have to go pick up this big ball of flesh out of the garden.
Bite right in.
Okay, now, he was also an early proponent of victory gardens. I was not familiar with this term. Are you?
Yes, and this was something kind of during COVID. That was where I heard about it. It was like people were learning how to garden in their homes, maybe who hadn't before.
Right, and it was actually like something that the government helped encourage. So it was a victory garden. They're also known as war gardens, were vegetable, fruit, and herb gardens planted at private residences and parks during World War I and World War II. And the government was encouraging them for a few different reasons. So it was helping to alleviate some of the pressure on the food supply, but they also considered it like a real like morale booster for people.
Yeah.
Everyone's feeling down about the war, and now they're like kind of like I felt with my morning glories. They're like, doing something that they may never have done before, and they're growing their own food, and they're seeing like the product of their work, and it's like labor, and it's like I thought it was a really cool thing. It was just a part of history I wasn't that familiar with.
That is and it is so true. I grew up the saddest cauliflower. I just ate it like a few days ago. Cauliflower that you grow from home. I've grown some really sad vegetables over the years, but it's like you eat it like it's like the most delectable, precious thing you've ever had. Like I pulled a carrot out of the ground that was 1/2 inch big.
You should be familiar with that.
Zing! Zing! And a really sad cauliflower. If you grow cauliflower at home, in my experience, it's the same as getting it from the grocery store, except it's smaller and covered in bugs.
Oh, God. I love cauliflower, as you know.
Yes.
What I find so odd about cauliflower here, maybe it's everywhere, most places like Trader Joe's, like you buy a cauliflower, it's whatever, $2 or $3. It's the price that it is. I always forget that at Vons and Albertsons, they sell cauliflower by the pound.
Oh,
so
yes.
I always pick at Trader Joe's, I pick the biggest one because they're all the same price.
You got to get those fatties.
I get a big one over at Vons, and all of a sudden it's like an $18 cauliflower, and I'll leave it. I'm not like you where I'm usually
Too
self-checkout anyway, but yeah, I'm like, what the heck?
You know, somebody told me the trick that if you aren't going to eat the stump, you can break it off and not buy it.
It's the same with pineapple. You take off that whole top part because if that's a per pound thing too, you're just throwing that away anyway.
Yes, that was a grocer who I overheard telling somebody else that tip was like, oh, you're not going to eat this. The stalks of broccoli are edible, but some people don't eat them for the recipe. So you could just crack that baby right in half, and
I love that.
You're paying a quarter.
I love sticking it to J.R. Kroger. I have become one of those people I never thought I'd be, where I shuck my corn in the store.
Oh,
and
God.
No.
Shucking the corn in the store.
I shuck the corn in the store. They have a box there for the silks.
Why shuck in the store?
Because sometimes I don't shuck in the store, and I bring it home, and I open it up, and it's a sad little ear of corn. Now I know.
You want to know what you're getting.
I want to know what I'm getting.
You're like a bride before her wedding day. Got to shuck that corn.
You're like a slutty bride before her wedding day. Exactly. And then David also, he really upped the company's advertising and catalog game. He is the one that introduced the whole beautiful, I'm not kidding. I'm considering purchasing one of these prints from the website. They're so pretty.
You should.
I don't know where I'll put it.
I mean,
storage. I do know where I'll put it. In my storage unit.
I've never seen you draw the line at an impulse purchase before. Why stop now?
Well, you know what I regret? I wish I would like to have one item for every episode of the pod. Like one branded item from everything.
Well, your charm bracelet.
I was going to say, we haven't really talked. I haven't done anything with a charm bracelet in a long time.
That
I don't know
bracelet
that
would get quite heavy.
a burpee seed charm out there somewhere. All right, so we're going to fast forward a lot. We're jumping from World War I to World War II. During the World War II years, there was another big push for victory gardens, and burpee breeders focused on developing vegetables suited especially for home gardeners, more so than for farmers at this point. In the 50s, Burpee's research brought beautiful new strains of petunias and marigolds and snapdragons and daisies and zinnias. And David Burpee really helped make these flowers become like very popular American classics.
Definitely. I love flowers.
I do too. It's one of those things, it's like something that I will buy myself on a Friday. Like back when I used to work in an office, it was such a it's been a week. I'm going to grab something at Trader Joe's and some sort of flower.
You are Meg Ryan.
I am America's gay sweetheart.
I love the idea. If I saw you in Trader Joe's and you didn't know I was watching you walk past the flowers, you have your little your basket, walking past the flowers and being like, no, and then like looking back and being like, yeah, I've worked hard this week, and then picking up your little thing of daisies.
You have to treat yourself, especially when you don't have someone, there's no one that's buying flowers for you.
Hey, maybe someone listening right now.
We'll see. We'll see. Our birthday's next week. I'm assuming that, Alistair, everyone's been asking for our P.O. box, but I'm assuming we'll be flooded with birthday gifts next week. If we're not, I'll be pleasant.
Have we not told people that if you have anything you want to send us, by all means.
We have an address you can send it to, a safe, secure address.
You know how mystified we are by mail.
Yeah. So far, we've only gotten one package. And we did a show on that. So you know. All right, so the 1970s, David Burpee sells the company to General Foods because, of course, for only $10 million, which seems like such a small amount of money. Wow. I didn't look up to see what that is now. And the company introduced seed starting kits for beginners, which was a real innovation. Like, that's something we take for granted. Now you find that at Target for like $3.
Totally.
But now at that time, that was something very new and exciting. In the 80s, the home gardens had begun to shrink in size. They had been averaging like 600 square feet. They go down to about 325 square feet.
A 600 square foot garden was average. That is wild.
Is that big?
It's so big, yeah.
Well, I mean, we live in California.
I guess so.
And you have a yard that most people don't have. But yes, in the Midwest, you get so much land.
And
plus, it's the 80s too. It's like you have probably even more land back then.
Yeah.
I know in Ohio you have really big yards. I can't picture what 600.
Well, you think about your apartment.
So 2 of my apartments.
Yes. Devoted to lettuce.
That is big.
That is big.
Chain stores started to have a better selection of plants for their customers, and people started to get a preference for buying plants instead of seeds.
Ooh.
Burpee sales began to slump, and the company is sold again. In 1991, the Burpee Company was acquired by George Ball Incorporated. I hope people aren't listening to this like, oh my God, who cares? Like, who's George Ball? Anyway, I find it interesting.
I think these are our people.
These are our people.
Let's jump forward 15 seconds if this timeline is not intriguing to you.
What if it's the opposite? What if people are like, oh my God, I didn't know George Ball bought the Burpee Company in 91?
And then we just kind of gloss over it, and they're like, wait, they just skipped over all of George Ball's history. Wait, is it George Ball of Ball Jars?
Babe, I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, because like Ball Jars.
No, he was also a horticulturist. He was a diversified horticultural family business.
Okay.
So it was really like these kind of two titans coming together, which I feel like was probably a better fit than General Foods. They start selling new and unusual varieties of plants and flowers and a lot more plants than seeds, which was appropriate for the time. And then in the 90s, there was like this big resurgent interest in heirloom vegetables. So they were prized for their old-fashioned flavor. And people really wanted to get their hands on like those vegetables of 100 years ago.
Interesting.
I know.
When I think of heirloom, I think of just like a big orange lumpy tomato.
I know. I do too.
I don't think
tasteless.
of like. I don't think I want to eat the food from a. That doesn't seem like it was better.
But then you do see, like, I don't eat tomatoes, but I see heirloom tomatoes and they look so pretty and cool.
No, they are cool. But like, do you want to eat like an heirloom cabbage? I don't know. Maybe it's good.
Well, the most sought after ones. Maybe this will surprise you or not. God, I'm kind of perfect. Okay.
You're a gassy boy today.
I know. I wasn't all day. So some of the most sought after ones that people were wanting to get their hands on were Brandywine tomatoes. Are you familiar with those? There was several different old tomato varieties they wanted. Yeah. Brandywine, Matchless, and Quarter Century. They were looking for tender pod green beans. Ooh. Like, these are people that I feel like are really in the know in vegetables. Like, that's how I would be with like Taylor Swift merchandise. Like, oh, yes. You want the gray crew, the one that has the international dates on the back, and other people be like, what the hell are you talking about?
You're gonna be scouring the internet for heirloom Taylor Swift swag.
Yeah, like I don't know what Bush Lima is, but I'm sure that it was delicious, and that's what they wanted to get.
Green beans were Taylor Swift. She didn't exist. Green beans were Taylor Swift.
Yeah. The company also introduced many notable first in tomatoes at this time. Oh. You had the Northern Exposure, which grew better in cold regions. You had the Heat Wave tomato, which grew better in hot regions.
Important.
You had the first sweet corn that was red.
Oh, okay.
And roly-poly zucchini, which was perfectly round.
That's cute.
I know, right? I feel like I'm really missing out. I feel like I buy whatever Trader Joe's has.
Yeah, there's some really funky stuff out there.
Yeah. So then we go into the new century. They open their own retail stores. Of course, they utilize the web store to boost business. I did not take a trip on the Wayback Machine. I will. I regret that I didn't. I'm realizing that now.
I hope they had a message board.
Oh, my God. It's going to be so cute. They continued introducing innovative tomato varieties. They're really big on tomatoes.
Tomatoes are huge.
I won't go through all those. Jonathan Burpee, the founder's grandson, was the last Burpee family member to work for the company.
The rest became doctors.
But yeah, everyone else is rich doctor. And to this day, Burpee continues to research and create amazing fruits, vegetables, and flowers. So that's kind of the story of Burpee, a brand that most people listening to may not know about, but hopefully now know, maybe found it a little more interesting than they thought they would.
And it might be something that you've been amongst your whole life, but you didn't know to look for it. So now everybody's going to find themselves in a Home Depot or a Target sometime this summer. You'll pass by the seed section.
Yeah.
Poke around.
And they're cheap. It's like a pack of seeds is so cheap.
It's funny. You get a pack of seeds for honestly, I think 59 cents.
Yeah.
And then you look inside, it'll be 200 carrot seeds.
So many seeds.
It's so many.
Yeah, so maybe you were always too embarrassed to ask about the history of seeds. Maybe I hope that the show was good for you.
Yeah, I always wanted to know, but I was too humiliated to even Google it because I thought, what if somebody sees my search history? And I was like, the history of Burpee Seeds, and I would just be so embarrassed.
Hey, listen, I needed to use your computer to print something out today. I needed a label to return some Taylor Swift swag. I did not mean to go into your history, but why are you searching cucumber seeds? Don't even tell me. I don't want to know.
Thank you so much for taking us down that road. I loved seeds before. I love them even more now. And I like iceberg lettuce. I think it has its place. I think it has its place on a juicy burger, which I'd eat twice a month, even though you did call me a vegetarian. I do have 2 burgers a month.
I always forget that you've changed since I've met you.
Well, you know what? I don't ascribe so much to labels. If there's a previous episode where I've called myself a vegetarian and then you're catching up on the pod and then you've heard me say I had a juicy burger, I just don't want anybody to be confused.
That's true.
Sure, I eat all vegetables except 2 burgers a month. Whatever that is, that's what I am. And I think iceberg lettuce is the perfect place for a juicy burger on a sandwich. I think it definitely has an important role in the vegetable landscape.
I have a feeling if you buy I'm not even joking that I have to burp again. I have a feeling if you buy, I wouldn't know because I don't shop there, an iceberg lettuce at an Erewhon versus an iceberg lettuce at a Vons. And if you don't have Vons, it's like Kroger, it's like Safeway, all those places, that maybe it is a lot different. Fun fact, I've got a couple fun facts. Speaking of iceberg lettuce, a lot of people thought that iceberg lettuce got its name because of the way that it looked when they were traveling by train from the West Coast to the East Coast. They'd be sitting on ice, and as it melted, the iceberg lettuce would just be bobbing there. So it looks like icebergs, and let's call it iceberg lettuce. That has since been debunked, and they have found that he says he called it iceberg lettuce because it was extra crispy.
It does evoke a feeling of crispiness.
Yeah, I do like those fun stories, though.
That's really
I
cute.
do want to give a shout out to Atlee Burpee because he was also known for his philanthropy, especially regarding the poor in Philadelphia. He was a supporter and was on the board of a place called Sunday Breakfast Rescue Mission, which was one of the very first homeless shelters and soup kitchens in America. Which
Wow.
I think that's really, what a perfect synergy of someone who creates food and then gives it back to his community.
Sharing food with the masses. I love that.
And then the last little fact that I thought was fun, at the beginning of the company, I told you he kind of switched gears from watching animals have sex to selling seeds. But when he made the catalog, chickens were still included in that catalog. They remain something that you could order through that catalog.
Chicken seeds?
Chickens.
Oh, really?
Yes. For 70 years, until the 40s, you could still order chickens through the catalog.
You could get a chicken in the mail.
Yeah. Wow. Different time.
Different time. You're a UPS guy or your mailman knocking on your screen door. Package. Walk, walk.
Your daughter gets a hold of your chicken catalog. Oh, no. That's like that episode of Lucy. Did you ever see that where she decides to become chicken breeder?
Oh, that's fun.
They have 500 chickens and she lets them loose in the house. It's adorable.
What antics did she not get into?
Oh, God. Why does it always feel like a marathon? It's like I need to crack my neck. There you go. There's Burpee Seeds. Who do we got to thank?
I'd like to give a little shout out to Bobby Jackson on Instagram, who wrote to us with a fun little fact about Tabasco. Bobby writes, I just finished your Tabasco episode, and I thought the mini bottle story was very interesting. Another interesting fact is that they used to be in MREs for soldiers to use from 1990 to 2011. When I was in basic training, we used to have to dig out spots to sleep, and we would find hundreds of tiny little empty Tabasco bottles buried in the dirt. A couple of my battle buddies would take some with them and then run the risk of getting yelled at by the drill sergeants. But I digress. Great episode. I love Tabasco. However, I'm with Marissa on the choo-choo Cholula. hula train. I thought that was a very cute story.
It was, and it reminded me I don't think I mentioned it in the episode, and I meant to, that to this day, Tabasco will give a free bottle of Tabasco sauce to veterans. You just have to reach out to them. And I reached out to them just to confirm they still did that. And I had forgotten I did that. And then like a week later, I got an email that was like, we absolutely do. What's your address? And I was like, oh no, she thinks I'm a veteran. And no, I did not ask for the free bottle. I'm not going to pretend I served.
What's that called? Stolen valor?
Yeah, no stolen valor.
No
over
stolen
here.
valor. So if you are a veteran listening, get your free bottle of Tabasco.
You may as well.
You're leaving money on the table.
Yeah. I also would like to give a shout out to everyone that got the Insta egg for Jenko. And that was nobody. Nobody got it right. I put a difficulty rating on 6.5. Maybe it was actually an 8. If you didn't see it, all you had to do was type in those 4 things into Google, and then you would have gotten there easily. I don't know if it was complicated or if people lost. I'm very disappointed in everybody right now.
This was like an escape room style.
This one was a little
clue.
harder, I guess. But there'll be a new one this weekend. We'll see if you get that one.
And as we always say, subscribe, rate, and review. If you can give us a lovely 5-star rating and write some kind words on Apple Podcasts, it really does mean so much to us. We'll give you a shout out at the end of an episode, and we will honestly screenshot it and text it to each other because it makes us so happy when somebody has something nice to say about the show. You can see videos of the show and chat with us on Instagram at OnBrandThePod or at OnBrandThePodcast on TikTok. And we love to hear from you guys, a brand you would like us to talk about, or thoughts on burpees or burping or lettuce. Tell us all. We love it. We love to hear anything from you guys. And that's it. We'll be back next week with an all new episode.
And remember, we may go off topic and we may go off topic, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you looking for a new job or want a career change? Look no further than Monster.com. Need a little help standing out? Our expert resume writing services will make sure you shine. Want to brush up on your interview skills? Engage with our AI interview prep tool. Want some advice on negotiating your new salary? Visit our salary tools and extensive library of career advice articles, and you'll have all the tips and tricks you'll need to succeed. Visit Monster.com today and take the first step towards your career. Monster.com. Find your right job fit.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.